For our September layout that was an April 2016 original, I want to go over a few things and talk about the Big Chippy on this one. So on some of the past layouts, I've showed you how to use the shape of the chipboard to mimic something, or how to replace a whole pattern piece of paper and instead put the chipboard. This one here is not about that. It is just about love the layering and just the beautiful embellishments and stuff that 49 and Market make, and adding to that. So on this one, you're going to be doing exactly the blueprint as you see it. You'll have that yellow 11.5-inch circle, which will be this blue. Now this is a die cut at the store. So if you are at the store, you can definitely use a die cut while it's Sketch Club. Otherwise it's put away. And then you'll be doing the other pieces that are here too. And then one thing I want to go over with you is actually how we cover the turtle, because everything else is super simple. You should all know how to do that. We're following the blueprint and just layering in the chipboard here. Now, one of the things I did do was I pop dotted my picture and then put my chipboard on. You guys can't tell, but I had to cut this and stuff it a little bit underneath there so it looks like it was always there. So the bottom, the chipboard is actually flat. There is no pop dots on it. It goes underneath the top of the picture and over top of the bottom. So it's flat here, glued to the page, and then it kind of is resting on the picture that is pop dotted, because that does have some elevation. All right, so let's talk about how we're going to do this big sea turtle here. I've got the paper out, I've got my little sea turtle guy, and it has a lot of pieces that need to be punched out or need to just fall out. So I like to give my chipboard a tap. This is a pretty hardy piece, so I'm not afraid to like hurt or break anything, to be honest. I just want it all to come out without me having to push it away. But of course that's not going to happen. So most of it's out, and what's not out is pretty loose. So then I'm just going to go through and pop these pieces out. And if some of the stuff stays in, that's okay. I actually glued some of the pieces like that with this turtle. I left some of the spots filled in. But whatever is loose, get rid of. Okay, that looks pretty good there. You know what? I'm going to take out that little section now that I see it. Okay. Great. Let's get rid of these bits and pieces. Now this paper that right here, I'm actually going to use both sides for the sea turtle. This is going to be his body, and this is going to be his shell. But there is part of this that I use. The orange right here is this word paper. So whoever gets this kit, it'll be partially done, and you'll just have to cut those parts. You have plenty of space, so don't worry about, having to cut a specific thing, because you just don't need to do that. So I'm going to start with the orange. Well, actually, I'm going to start with doing the Vintage Photo ink. So the Vintage Photo ink on this, and getting rid of that. I didn't see that for a second there. So the Vintage Photo ink on this one, of course, you want to use a dauber just like the rest, because it is so much more easy, fast, and delicate than your sponge. So let me grab a scrap piece of paper, because I don't seem to have that out. There we go. I like to use my silhouette mats for this. Open this up. Just make sure we're still in frame here, and I can really help you guys out there. Perfect. Okay. You know, depending on how wet your sponge is, one coat may be enough. A lot of times I go over stuff at least twice. Now with this, you could go in and fill in sand and a different color for the starfish, a different color for the seaweed. That's, personally myself, that's not what I was looking to do. I just wanted to layer this with the rest of my, layer this and then have the turtle be what stood out. So if I would have started layering all the rest of it with paper and different colors, it wouldn't be just the turtle that's standing out. So I chose not to do that and to just stop with him. And then we'll go back and do some glitter glue on him also when you finish your page, and that makes him stand out. Okay. Perfect. Anytime I'm doing this, sometimes I do have my sponge and I just put it in some of the areas that seem like it's not taking the color as well or not as blended. But this one looks super good, so we're gonna leave it alone. And I'm gonna start with this tortoise shell. This one's a more difficult one. You could try to trace that if you want, but I don't know how you're gonna do that. Seems pretty difficult. And see, some of the pieces I can just pull out from the back side too. So let's be pretty heavy-handed with the adhesive, but we're only putting it on the tortoise shell. If you get it over a little bit of other stuff, that doesn't matter, but that's mainly what you want to do, is just do his shell. I'm going to grab my piece of paper, the green, and don't be wasting this beautiful 49 Market paper. Make sure you put it on there so that you're only, you know, getting the least chunk. Or if you want it to be darker, like I think this side is darker, I think I'm going to go there. Okay. So with this, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to go underneath the chipboard, right where his shell is, and I'm going to start nipping away at that paper until all I have is the green paper where his actual shell is. So this isn't going to be pretty. It doesn't need to be on the other side because nobody's going to see it. And then bend your paper back a little to help yourself out. And then once I get that, I cut it off. Like, it's hard to work with such big pieces. There we go. So now I have this. And I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna flip it over because I've got some edging right here that I don't like how it looks. Pull it back a little, that's good enough. Get my scissors right underneath where that shell is, because this is shell too. This is not shell. Try to make that round curve, and then that's his leg. I don't want that. Okay. All right, that was pretty easy. I got a little spot there, but I'm not even worried about that. I am not hating on myself. I think I did a quick, easy job for that tortoise shell. Now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna do his body. Now I could actually use these pieces if I wanted to, but honestly, I am not all about that. I'm gonna turn him over. I'm gonna put adhesive only where like the rest of his body is, so that I can get my scissors underneath everything else. Okay, use the other side of this paper. Just like that. And let's make it a little easier on ourselves and get rid of this right away so I can really hold it. Okay, so I'm gonna cut straight across there. I'm gonna come underneath this shell and get rid of all that because that's all done. Okay. And sorry, I'm trying to hold this the best possible spot for you guys to see. So get underneath his little foot and just keep cutting away the bits and pieces. This is how I get dirty scissors too. Just because I'm going to pick up a lot of adhesive on my scissors. I actually prefer, which I have them out here, I just didn't grab them. These right here, when I'm doing this type of stuff, I use my Teflon scissors. I try to remember to use my Teflon scissors because they the adhesive doesn't stick to them. So see that spot right there? That spot right there is not his body, it's actual sand. So yes, I'm going to make sure I get rid of that. There we go. Now back underneath. I got a little spot there. Now we're going to come all the way up underneath his first flipper, or whatever what do you call it with sea turtles? I would assume a flipper, but hey, I'm not exactly sure. I'm not a marine biologist. I'm a scrapbooking guru. Couldn't get that out. Okay, underneath. Keep getting rid of all that excess that's not his body. Take your time. Uh-oh. Here comes a cat, ladies. I'm sorry. Okay. So that is it. There's our sea turtle with the verbiage where his body is, and then the green where the tortoise shell is. And that is great. Super simple. Just takes a few minutes to do. Now, it looks like I actually have a little bit here where it's not covered. So I'm not gonna make myself crazy. I'm just gonna turn it over, put adhesive there, take a small piece and fill it in. Voila, you can't even tell. Okay. All right, ladies, I hope that helped with this video. I hope you have a good time making your sea turtle and putting this layout together. It's lots of layers, and all done and said, it's well worth the work.